Excellent. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the October webinar. I know it's November now, but this is for our grantees for today, for this month. I am Minati Amin, and I am the co-leader of a RISE chapter in Fremont, California. And I'm also a volunteer on the Grants and Partnerships Committee. So I will be the moderator for tonight's event. And just wanted to go over some of the introductory information. I think a lot of you may have heard this before, but let's just kind of go through that. Whether it's your first RISE event or you're a returning member, thank you for joining us this evening. And we are extremely delighted to have you join us along with our speakers from the two grantees. Together Women Rise is a powerful community of women and allies dedicated to achieving global gender equality. Together, we learn about and advocate for gender equality issues, give grants to organizations that empower women and girls in low-income communities in the Global South, and build community to forge meaningful connections with each other and with women around the world. Our model is based on collective giving. By harnessing the power of coming together, all contributions are valued and can make a powerful impact. If you are interested in supporting Together Women Rise or learning more, please visit our website at togetherwomenrise.org. Before we get started, few Zoom reminders. Please keep yourself on mute while our speakers are presenting. There will be a Q&A after the speaker. Please enter your questions in the chat function. We will do our best to get to as many questions as we can. The closed captioning feature has been enabled for your use. Just go to your Zoom toolbar and click on Show Captions in your language of choice. It's time now to turn to our program for tonight. At these monthly webinars, you have the opportunity to learn about the challenges and issues faced by women and girls in low-income communities in the Global South, as well as the important work that together we are funding. This month, we are focusing on protecting girls against violence with our partners, No Means No South Africa and Project Zawadi. First, we are going to play a short video about these organizations. Then we will have a conversation with our guest speakers, Regina Makama and Nwabisa Nukume. Wendy, over to you. Wendy, are we having technical difficulties? So while Wendy's lining up the videos, maybe I can just go ahead and introduce our speakers. We have with us today Regina Makama, Student Support Program Manager with Project Zawadi, and Nwabisa Nukume, Managing Director with No Means No South Africa.
I'm sorry, Minoti, was the video not sharing? Was the video not showing up? Okay, hold on a second. Let me back it up. I thought it was playing.
The video is showing, but the words are not there.
Right.
Okay, give me a second, and I will try and get this corrected. Thanks for your patience.
And it wasn't playing from the beginning either.
Right.
It actually was the beginning. Yeah, that was the beginning. Okay, let's see here. Now, if somebody wants to just, can you see the video now?
No.
No.
Yep.
Okay. Try this again. Now?
There we go.
Okay.
See it? Yes.
And give me a thumbs up if the sound is working okay. All right, I'm going to start it now.
The primary school is situated where there's a high rate of unemployment. The school is surrounded by thousands of drug dealers around the school. The school are not trusting. As teachers, sometimes we notice that there's something wrong with the learner in terms of performance in class. So we find out the children are abused emotionally. And we have some cases that learners have been sexually abused, starting from grade 8 to grade 7. We have cases every day. So in the schools, we teach kids about these topics that they've always wanted to talk about with their parents, but they were never given an opportunity to actually engage in those conversations. We have certain ideologies. Women should be this, men should be this, and that makes women to be at a disadvantage. This is a very important program for you just to know the effort is very normal and which is very okay. Telling them that no means no. You need to think about yourself. You need to think for your future. We teach them how to defend themselves. We equip them also with skills. So we don't only give the information about sexual and gender-based violence, but we also give them a backpack of tools that they can use to defend themselves against sexual and gender-based violence. I mean that it's not my fault to become a sort, and you have the right to raise your voice upon what you should do. Like it is important that you know what to do, what's the next step to take after you've been assaulted. Boys also go through the same situation as girls. They can be assaulted, they can be raped as well. And so they need it. They all do it. The parents use it, but then it's affected me physically. Sometimes I can't concentrate on working and what they are doing. They are not. It's very rare that we get to find a program that speaks to the child. When a child grows, they become excited, they show that they are willing to learn something. No one is born an abuser. Someone becomes an abuser because of the environment or the household that they come from. And whenever you're having problems in your life, you don't need to use violence. And that violence is unacceptable. I decided to follow my heart and gather my courage and share my voice to the boys and girls of South Africa and know that no is here to hold. No means no in South Africa. No means no. 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 Just stop. This is Regina, and I am the student support program manager. Project Zawadi's mission is to ensure that Zambian children and youth have access to a quality education. In Tanzania, girls are socialized to accept a cycle of violence and disempowerment. Little is being done with the government and NGOs to address it, especially in rural areas. Thanks to Together with the Right, we are piloting a comprehensive initiative that reduces gender-based violence in schools, families, and in communities, and empowers girls. This program is called Girls Safety in School and in the Community. My name is Tia, and I am the student of Later Project Zawadi. This program is linked with climate and secondary school is a good addition to the environment. We practice it in college, the student council, individual and school, and training the children today. We also train other district programs to support and empower students to have experience to have a good practice. My name is Roland, council to the Project Zawadi. I work with the students one-on-one in the groups. Our counseling sessions expand variety of topics benefit from students' needs. We discuss different issues that personal learning and explore like violence and abuse, and discuss their goals and dreams for the future. It is important to build trusting relationships with the students so that they can know they have safe results. Other stakeholders like teachers and local government officials know GDP is an issue girls are facing, but lack the training to address it. They are learning how to counsel girls when they need it and follow product reporting protocols to ensure the right people are held accountable. The community groups happen with students, take goals, conflict, establish stakeholder relationships, self-expression, life skills, evaluation, and balance, reflect, and play. When we were visiting Iterewasi Primary School, a group of students who were involved in the environment club and student council approached Semelu, the Project Zawadi intern, and said they needed support. They were concerned about their classmates' happiness. She was showing signs of distress and was not able to function normally during the school. They had approached her and learned she was experiencing gender-based violence at home. They practiced the peer-to-peer counseling they learned from our team members. After spending time with her, they helped her report things. Our team has been supporting her, and her case is now being addressed at the district level. Happiness now feels supported and safe violence.
Thank you. That was very interesting videos. So I'm so thrilled that we have the opportunity to speak with members from the two organizations that we just saw videos of. We have with us Regina Makama, Student Support Program Manager with Project Zawadi, and Nwabise Nukuma, Managing Director with No Means No, South Africa. I'm just going to go through their introductions and then we'll jump into a conversation with them. Nwabise has 15 years of experience in international relations, holding a degree in psychology and political studies from the Nelson Mandela University. She has coordinated multidisciplinary projects and managed stakeholder engagement. She previously led the Trade and Investment Directorate at Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality, focusing on large-scale economic projects and investment initiatives. Welcome. With a diploma in education, Regina has 20 years of experience teaching young students. She was a board member of Compassion International Tanzania, CIT, in Bunda for 11 years. She volunteered with Project Zawadi prior to joining the team as program manager for student support. In that role, she oversaw the establishment of the apprenticeship and girls' safety initiatives. Welcome both, Regina and Nwabisa. Following the conversation with Regina and Nwabisa, there will be an opportunity for audience questions. So please put your questions in the chat as you come up with those. So moving on to our conversation. Thank you again for being here with us tonight. I know it is a little past 3 a.m. your time. So an extra thank you for doing this for our community. So this question is for both of you. Both the organizations do amazing work. It's incredibly difficult but crucial work, preventing and supporting girls through gender-based violence. And in the video we just saw that that one case that Regina was talking about. So can you share with us how prevalent is gender-based violence toward the girls in the areas that you work in, and specifically barriers that you're facing with some of the work you are trying to do? Maybe Regina, you want to go first, and then Nwabisa, you can follow.
Thank you very much. As you have said, Project Zawadi collaborates with the Tanzanian government, that's the local government authorities, the local communities, the schools and teachers, to make sure we are preventing and supporting girls through gender-based violence. Actually, we face some challenges, such as, let me begin with this. Most of the time when we get the cases, the student cases, when the cases are reported to the relevant authorities, there is the cases are dealt with very slowly. It means they are taking a long time to get the solution. Therefore, in order to solve that, we meet the stakeholders to have discussion in order to solve this. Because why delaying with the case, especially with the gender-based violence case? Therefore, we sit together with the authorities to let them know their responsibility and to take actions immediately. The other challenge that we face is lack of cooperation from some of the parents, and this is most of the parents from our community. We lack this cooperation. Maybe it's because they fear of being blamed with their relatives, as in many cases the suspects or the perpetrators are the relatives or the neighbors closely to the family. And therefore, we just provide them with education about it so as to give us more cooperation when it's needed.
You can listen to we can watch the show. This is so great. I said, you want to get your ears, we can watch the mystery.
Oh, yeah.
That's all right. Can everybody just go on mute, please, if you're not speaking? Apologies, Regina. You can continue.
Those are the challenges that we meet, and that's what I wanted you to know. Thank you.
No, that's very helpful. Nwabisa, the same question for you. I mean, what is the prevalence and specifically, some of the barriers and challenges that you face in the work you do?
Yeah, thank you so much, Minoti, for the questions. Good evening, everyone. Prevalence of sexual violence in South Africa. 15% of all crimes reported are rape cases. 22% are sexual assault, so rape and other forms of sexual violence. And the area that I live in has some of the highest numbers of sexual violence related crimes reported in the country. Just this past year, I think we were standing at about 32% of cases reported on sexual violence. So you can imagine that this affects young women and girls especially. Some of the barriers that we face are very similar to what Regina has mentioned. A very slow justice system to act and to prosecute, and also resistance sometimes from families of the young people that we work with. We've had a number of cases where, so our organization is obviously only licensed to give psychosocial support. We then have to refer the case to the Department of Social Development, where if the child needs to be removed, the police needs to get involved. They would then have to be part of the intervention program. And so you find that sometimes it's very difficult to get hold of the parents. It's very difficult to get them to come to school, to talk to our social workers, and to get the process started. We obviously have to report immediately to social development and to the police, but you also need to have the parents' support in the whole case. And so, as Regina said, most sexual violence happens from acquaintances, from people that the young people know, that they live with. And so, and sometimes it's people that are financially responsible for the family. And so, you know, in cases like that, it becomes very difficult for the mom to step up. In South Africa, we have a lot of single moms raising their kids. And so it's difficult sometimes for her to step up, because now there's the financial burden that, you know, will come into place. And so it's a very slow justice system. Cases are reported. They are not attended to as quickly as they should be. It takes long for the case to get to court. Police will take long to take the statement. If the child is taken to the hospital for assessments and examinations, there might not be a doctor at that hospital at that time. So there's a number of issues that then become barriers for young people to get justice. They will report, but then they will not get the justice that they deserve. And this is one of the reasons why we have lower numbers of reporting of sexual violence. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's it's heart-wrenching. You know, I have family in India, and I think some of the cultural impacts are similar, where, you know, you kind of want to keep things in the family, put it under the carpet, and not really address that. So it is very, very distressing. And one of the things that, you know, you guys talked about in the video and in reading some of the information about your work is both the organizations not only provide education and tools for the girls in preventing gender-based violence, but you're also integrating, you know, the other stakeholders, the boys and maybe even the adults in their lives. So how has that been effective? I think we all understand that there's an important role that the boys and the men of tomorrow play in this in these solutions, but you know, what has been your experience with how effective it has been, and are you noticing any shifts in the mindsets of the boys and the men in the schools or the larger families and communities?
Yes, so I can go.
Sure.
Definitely, we are definitely seeing a change in their behavior, in mindset as well. In 2022, we did a research where we wanted to get more insight into how boys and young men were either perpetrating violence against women or experiencing violence themselves, and how they were what their perception is of sexual violence, for example. And one of the things we found through that research was that young boys and young men grow up in society that normalizes violence, whatever form of violence it is against women. And so sometimes they're not aware that what they're doing is violence or is violent or is sexual harassment, sexual assault. And so a program like ours then empowers them to be able to recognize and to be aware of what sexual assault is, or what sexual violence is, or what abuse is in general. And so we've definitely seen in the schools that we have worked with, you can definitely see a mind shift or a mind change in how young men treat their, peers, female peers, the questions that they ask. Our program is for 10 to 20-year-olds, and you find in the older group that there's a lot more engagement, because what they have been taught and their lived experience in their communities is slightly different to what it is that we are teaching in class. And so there's a lot of questions around, but this is what we've seen, or this is what happens. So you mean the way that I spoke to that girl was wrong, the way that I treated her, was sexual assault or sexual harassment, or whatever it might be. So it's very important for us as No Means No SA that boys are part of the solution, boys are part of the conversation. Boys are also taught skills to be able to recognize when even someone else is being abused. It might not be them, but it might be their peer. And how do they then intervene safely or try and find help, for others? But more importantly, how do they not become perpetrators of violence?
Understood. Yes. Regina, did you want to add anything to that?
Let me say this. Project Zawadi provides education to these young men in schools about gender-based violence, and these boys are included in empowerment clubs. The empowerment clubs are run in the partner schools that we engage with, and this is done weekly. And we also have the student councils, which are found in those schools. And we see this success because once these male students get education, they consider the girls as their sisters, and they defend them when they encounter any violence. Boys have been good ambassadors to continue to educate their peers about the sexual violence. And there is a clear, visible changes in male students. For example, you may find a male student reporting the case of a female student about they report to the gender desk teachers. We have the gender desk teachers in every partner school. Therefore, a boy goes to report a case about a female student to the teacher. This shows that the self-awareness that they get and that the education they receive help them. That's why they count themselves a part of this to their sisters.
That's excellent. So, and I don't know if you have an answer to this, but are you noticing that, as you're educating both the girls and the boys, that maybe some of that messaging is trickling up to the parents and other family members, or is it too early to tell? Either of you. I don't know what the experience has been.
Well, I had a story of one of the parents who told me that what the students learn in school give the effect to the community, because when the student goes back to the parents, he mentions what they have been taught at school, and they also tell the parents, this is not good, this is okay, this is not. Therefore, you see, it's not only to the part of the students, but it also affects the parents, because some of them take the message to the parents and say no if it's not the, I mean, if it is it seems to be a violence to them. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. And that's what we're hoping, right? It's not just the girls or the boys, but the larger community getting educated over time. And so that kind of brings me to the next question is, are there specific things that your organizations do, like collaborate with teachers, local communities, and authorities to get the girls the support they need, just so that the mindsets and the systems are changing? And I know both of you alluded that the social justice system is slow and maybe not as responsive as you would like, but either things that you're already doing or things you would like to see done in your communities. Can you speak to either of those?
Yeah, so normally what we do is when we approach the schools to start working with them on the No Means No program, we normally ask for a meeting with the whole staff complement of the school to explain what we do, to talk to them about the No Means No program, but to also then find, contact teachers within that school, that if we have an issue that we need to deal with, we know we have a contact person at that school that we can go to. We also hold talks with parents about the program, what it entails, so that they know what their children are doing, because we run an after school program. So we will then have like a meeting with the parents of the kids that are involved in the program to talk to them about what we do. We have a forum that we participate in with other organizations, other NGOs, as well as government departments that work in with children and those that work with sexual and gender-based violence programming, where we then are able to have a network of people that we'll work with as and when we need assistance from them with some of the cases that are then reported. So what we've also found is very similar to Regina, is that kids talk to their parents about their program. There was an instance when we visited a primary school to just give feedback to the parents about how we worked with the kids. And one of the parents said, I've heard about the program. My child really, really likes it. I have a child in the high school at such and such a place. Are you guys working at that high school? I think you should. And so, the word also spreads around in that way. So that's what we've tried to do. We've tried to put networks and things together so that we are able to get the support that we need from both the parents as well as the teachers at the schools that we work with. Thank you.
That's excellent. Regina, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, as we said, we collaborate with teachers and local communities and authorities. We hold the joint discussion in workshops that help to have a common understanding and find a better way to improve the system to deal with all issues of sexual violence and what happens to the girls. And within this, you find that it's not that one day, one parent said in a meeting that it's not that we don't know about this, but it's as if we don't take it serious. We just see it as our normal life. If you come for discussion, you tell us, you open up and tell us more about it, we come to understand that the actions that we see as if it's the actions in a normal life and that is life needed to be, it's not. from the discussion, they realize that prevention helps a lot. And therefore, we have been doing this with in parents meeting. We call the parents meeting in schools. We have the discussion with the teachers in a school. We have the discussion with the local communities and all that. Therefore, they just get to get improvement with all issues of sexual violence that happens to girls. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's very helpful. And I think that's part of the, there is the part where we want to empower our girls and their peers, the boys, but the end goal is that the community stands behind the girls, and we can help effect that change. So it's very heartwarming to hear that you're kind of seeing some of this not trickle down, but trickle up impact on the parents and the communities. Nwabisa, there's a question I wanted to ask you specifically about No Means No. With I think worldwide, and I have young children and nieces and nephews, and the whole question and discussion around social media and what's happening and how it's impacting our youth. How are you ensuring that your curriculum remains relevant and effective, responding to challenges that are maybe even, in the cyber world when it comes to sexual violence, and specifically, what's happening on social media and other technology-based platforms?
Thank you, Minoti. So I mentioned earlier that we did some research in 2022 and 2023 on what kinds of violence, for example, girls were experiencing, were they reporting, what were the reasons for not reporting, that kind of thing. And one of the issues that came out from that research was that a lot of our young people are experiencing technology-facilitated sexual violence. So your social media-based sexual violence, especially. And so what we did is we have developed a module that speaks specifically to technology-facilitated sexual violence. We are piloting that module at the moment with high school students, because we found that the age group that was most affected was the 14 to 19, 20-year-olds. And so that's high school students. So in South Africa, grade 8 to grade 12. So we are piloting a module with those young people to talk to them about technology-facilitated sexual violence. Where are they getting it? Is it from Facebook? Is it from gaming? Is it from WhatsApp? What kind of applications are they using? What are the kinds of violence that they're experiencing? What are they noticing? What is being said to them, or what is being done to them? So that we are then able to give them tools to, one, recognize it, two, to also then be able to get themselves out of those situations in safe ways, and to report whatever it is that they're experiencing online. And so we are targeting 450 students. With that information, we'll then be able to go back and see if that module needs to be tweaked, needs to be improved in some way. Are the young people understanding it? Are the things that we are learning from them that we perhaps have not included in that module? And so No Means No SA is a research-based organization. And so we're always trying to find ways to get to know what young people are experiencing, so that the curriculum that we're teaching them is relevant to their context, to their lived experiences, and to find as many tools as we can to empower them to prevent sexual violence in any form. Thank you.
Got it. So besides, I know I asked you about technology and social media, but are there other new challenges that one would not traditionally think that this is a space, or whether it's online or in real life, that lends itself to gender-based violence?
I think the biggest lesson that we've learned is that culture and context remain the biggest influence and and means of disempowerment for young people. And so we are constantly having to debunk cultural myths and cultural beliefs that are harmful to young people and to people in general. There are always, when it comes to technology facilitated sexual violence, I think there's always something new and some innovative way that people try to get through to young people. So I think organizations like ours need to always be on their toes and kind of be a step ahead and be, have their almost like their ear on the ground on what's happening, what's new that's being introduced to young people, technology-wise, so that you are aware of what kind of activities they are engaged with. Our young people are exposed to so much that so every day you're learning something new and a different way that they are interacting or different platform that they're participating in. So you always just need to keep up.
Keep up with it, yeah.
Yeah, keep up with it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Regina, just wanted to ask you specifically, because the program that Together Women Rise supports includes counseling sessions and empowerment clubs and student councils and things like that. Do you have either a hypothesis or maybe you have seen the reason why the peer-to-peer initiatives have become so effective? And this is, because I'm on the Grants and Partnerships Committee, we see that in a lot of grant applications that, peer-to-peer clubs and student councils seem to be very effective, and very curious to hear, why you think it has been so effective for Project Zawadi.
Thank you. As you have mentioned, we involve both girls and boys in counseling sessions. In counseling sessions, we have the group counseling sessions and individual counseling, but we also have the empowerment clubs that we run. We take them 50 by 50, and within this year, this has affected 864 students, whereby 432 are girls, 432 are boys, and similar to student councils, both girls and boys, we find one student who is a boy from one class and another one girl from one class to make the gender balance. And therefore, this, in fact, the peer-to-peer program has had a good results because there are children who can share what they face with the adults and what they are going through, but a large percentage of children cannot do that. To share with adults is not possible. And sometimes it's because they are afraid of being punished, challenged, beaten, and all that. So instead, they easily share it with their peers. Therefore, peer-to-peer sharing becomes a success to us, which leads to identifying incidents of sexual abuse that takes place in the community easily. Yes, and initially students were unable to say anything or to talk about the challenges that they face, but this time they can open up and they start talking and looking for the solution to the problems that they are facing. Therefore, that has been a success Yeah, we saw it as it is very effective. And with the student council, it's one student, one boy, one girl from each class, but this goes to affect the whole school because this becomes as ambassadors of the class. They come back to the class and tell them all about what they have learned and helps the whole school. Therefore, it has been good to us. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's very empowering, right? Our young people are getting educated and empowered to point out when they see injustice and gender-based violence. So before I open up for audience questions, just wanted to ask both of you a little bit open-ended as you look ahead and what is next for the organization. What kind of expansion or new initiatives do your organizations plan or would like to plan? I mean, maybe a wish list. Just any thoughts on that? No, Bisa, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, sure. Well, right now we are busy with the technology facilitated sexual violence module. We want to obviously get feedback from that and see where we need to improve it or tweak it, and then we want to roll it out to as many schools as we possibly can. We also would love to be able to do a bit of research in more rural areas. We work in a very urban area in Nelson Mandela Bay, and we would love to do research in more rural areas so that the curriculum that we teach can fit all contexts in South Africa. We want to, for example, with the technology facilitated module, are children in more rural communities experiencing the same kind of violence, for example, that young people in urban areas are experiencing? And if not, what are the differences and how do we then develop tools for them that will be able to fit their context and empower them as well? The module, the curriculum as it stands right now is quite versatile and can be contextualized in different contexts. So we would want to be able to really reach as many schools as we possibly can. We are working in one section of Nelson Mandela Bay, which is called Gqeberha. We want to reach the other communities as well, and also make sure that as many young people are empowered to not only defend themselves safely, but intervene in situations where there is violence against their peers.
Excellent, thank you. Regina, any plans for expansion or wish list that you'd like to share with our members?
Thank you, Minati. Project Zawadi hardly work with a division which has 46 schools, but with the girl safety in school and community is run in about 16 schools up to this time. So we wish to expand and reach those other schools so as to give education to the rest of the community that we have not reached. But the other plan that Project Zawadi has is to continue to provide education to the community as well and to all ages, because if a person is educated, it's easy to get rid of the ongoing sexual violence in the society. And we believe that providing education, the ignorance disappears. And I also believe that when you educate a girl, you educate the whole society. And therefore, this expansion of giving education to all ages will help much to defeat this gender-based violence that takes place in the society. So we wish to expand on that. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you both for your thoughtful responses. It's, I don't know that I would be so articulate at 4 a.m. my time, but you folks have given us a very impressive insight into the work that you do. So thank you very much. I'd like to open up the floor for audience questions. So if you haven't already, please put your questions in the chat, and I will request Wendy to take over and assist with reading out those questions.
Sure. The first question that we got asked was, are you reaching out to girls who are not in school, girls who perhaps are pregnant and not attending school?
So for No Means No SA, we're a completely school-based program. So we work only with young people that are at school. This was because of when we started working, we started with a research project that was, focusing on school-going young people, and the authorities that we received were then to work within the school system. So as No Means No SA, we have not worked outside of the school system. We continue to work with schools. It's more organized and easier for us to get to young people in that way.
Regina?
With Project Zawadi is a little bit different. We work with the girls who are in schools, but with the girls who have gone such violence and are pregnant, cannot, with Tanzania, they are not allowed to go on with their formal education. Instead, Project Zawadi picks some of them, just a few of them because of the fund we have, and take them to be trained as apprentices. Therefore, girls choose the trade that they want to be trained, and from there we take the student to the master craft, who is able to train the girl what she has chosen. Maybe if it's tailoring, car mechanics, the welding, driving, cookery, and all that. For what the girl will choose, we join the girl with the mastercraft so that the girls can be trained, and when they are competent of what they are trained, they become self-reliant because they can now, actually Project Zawadi support them with the startup capital and some of the machines if they need to begin their own business.
Great, thank you. Now, what about the training for the boys? Do you find that does have a long-lasting effect on them, or does the training fade with time, maybe because the boys are just overpowered, like you say, by what they're seeing in their community or in the culture, or even in their own home? Does that training with the boys really have a lasting effect?
Yes, it seems like, because as I said before, education takes out the ignorance. And if you teach a boy to do something, it will last in his life. Yeah, he will grow up knowing that this isn't good for the life and I should not do it. Therefore, we see it as something that is going to grow because he understands, he knows when he is young that knowing that he won't do it.
Right.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think,
if Nwabisa has something to say about it. Karibu,
yeah, I
Nwabisa.
think that you definitely see the change in their in their thought process and in how they interact when you are at school. I think one of the things that we would want as No Means No Essay is to actually track some of the boys that we've worked with to see how much of the knowledge they have retained. And because, I always say to my team, don't ever forget that we are coming with a 8 to 10 hour program against 12 years of lived experience or 16 years of lived experience. So, you're fighting against that. So, yes, you can see the changes when you are working with them. If it's a school, for example, that you are working with for the second time or the third time, if those young people are still at that high school, you'll meet up with them and you can hear and see that they still remember and understand what it is that we were trying to do with them, but you would like to formally track it in some kind of a longitudinal research project to see whether how long do they still remember all those skills, and if anything has changed in 2 or 3 years, for example. From what we can see, it does work, it does help, but we would love to see it in the long term.
Right. Now, what about the law? Does gender-based violence have legal consequences in your country? Is it against the law? I know you talked about how justice is slow, but are there actually laws, and are you getting some cooperation from local law enforcement?
Yeah, definitely. So it is definitely against the law. There are laws in place that or that are in place to prosecute against sexual violence and gender-based violence. It is, I think the biggest issue is that it just takes so long for law enforcement to do what they need to do. I think, Regina, you will probably have the same challenge in that the cases are reported. It takes long for the police to get back to the survivor or the victim of sexual violence to, come back and actually take proper statement and to open up a case and to get it to court and to get it prosecuted. So it just takes long. Sometimes I get frustrated because I feel that, do you actually know what it is that you're supposed to do? Because the law is there. It's written in black and white. This is what is supposed to happen, but you're just not cooperating. I have a very practical case that we were working with at a primary school. So primary school is grade 1 up to grade 7. And it was something that had happened a few months before we got into the school. It took over, I want to say 3 weeks for the police to take a statement from my staff member who had received the disclosure from the young woman. And so the process is that the police need to take a statement from the person that has reported the case, from the young person that is the victim of violence, and all of the people, the stakeholders that are involved. Took 3 weeks for them to get to my staff member. So that they are then able to take the next step. My staff member is the first person. And if it takes them 3 weeks to get to them, how much longer does it take for them to then get the statement from the victim of sexual violence and, to get it processed? So yes, it is law. It is, law protects us. Law is there to protect us, but the people that are supposed to be enforcing the law are not necessarily always quick to do so.
Regina, what about this situation where you are?
Actually, that's the big problem that we are facing, and we don't have otherwise except to come back and discuss with them. Let me give this example. We visited a certain village for the community meeting to give that education about GBV, and they just raised a voice that there is a man who disturbs our girls in the village. And we reported that case to the police. We took the person to the police, and then after 2 days, we saw the person back to the village, telling us, you cannot do anything to me. I have people behind me, and therefore I will just do whatever I want to do. Such a thing happens. From there, we just went to police and discussed with them. There is this issue that going on in this station, and you don't take action, and that demoralize the community to take any case to the police. And from there, actually, we see things change. Maybe they are doing because they know that no one is going to talk about it. But if we go back and discuss, we sit together and say, no, this is not supposed to be this way. They reported a person who is harassing girls in the village, and you just leave this person walking back to the village. It's not fair. Therefore, we see some changes after giving some education and some discussions together, but it's really a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minotti, I think that's all the time we have for questions, so I'll turn it back to you to wrap up.
Excellent. Thank you very much again, Noavisa and Regina. For RISE members, I just wanted to give a reminder. Together Women Rise depends on your donations to support grants like those provided by No Means No South Africa and Project Zawadi, and to provide a wide variety of learning and engagement opportunities, including these webinars. Our 2024 annual appeal is currently underway with a special matching opportunity. Donations made now through November 14th will be matched up to $100,000, thanks to several generous donors. So this is a great time. If you've been waiting, this is the time to give and have your donation doubled. You can donate by using a link that Wendy has posted in the chat. And I wanted to thank everyone who has attended this evening. Just wanted to share some quick information about upcoming events, including RISE trips planned for 2025. Our trips provide an opportunity for you to learn more about the challenges women and girls face in the Global South and see firsthand the work we are supporting. In 2025, we are offering trips to the Dominican Republic in March, Rwanda in June, and Indonesia in September. Please note the deadline to register for our Dominican Republic trip is fast approaching. Register by December 6th if you're interested. You can find more information on these trips on the website. Just go to Join Us tab and click on Travel. Also wanted to invite you to attend more of the upcoming events on Tuesday, November 19th. Don't miss the monthly webinar of Together Women Rise Advocacy Group with results at 8:30 p.m. Eastern and 5:30 p.m. Pacific. It is a great opportunity to engage and advocate for change. My editorial comment, now more than ever before. Our December monthly webinar is on Thursday, December 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. In December, we will be focusing on the cervical cancer protection and how storytelling is being used to champion the HPV vaccine in Mali. Our guest speaker will be Tiffany Crippen, the executive director of the Gaia Vaccine Foundation, who is also the December featured grantee. You can find all this information and other upcoming events on the website togetherwomenrise.org. So togetherwomenrise.org. Click on the Join Us tab and then upcoming events where you can learn more, register for the events, and access recordings of past events. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us, and we hope to see you at a future event. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.